numbers are much higher than initially thought.
Yeah, that's right, Aisling. It is only 3 weeks ago, around this lunchtime, that Simon Coveney stood in this courtyard and had caused jaws to drop, basically, when he suggested that Ireland could have to take in as many as 20,000 refugees. That was on the basis of maybe about 1 million people eventually leaving Ukraine as a result of Russia's aggression. Of course, now the estimated figure is 10 million. That includes people who have already left the country and those who are internally displaced. And governments around Europe are all basically taking the view that you have to assume every one of those people currently displaced inside Ukraine will ultimately intend to leave the country. That means that Ireland's share of the refugee total will be somewhere in the region of 200,000 people.
The number of people who've currently fled from Ukraine into the EU is the equivalent of every woman and child in Ireland. So that's what we're talking about, between 3.5 and 4 million people. And the expectation now, I think, is that number could increase significantly further. And I think every country in the European Union is planning for that, and Ireland is no different. So this isn't a question really of whether we can accommodate X number of people, it's how we will.
Now, in the last few minutes, you may be able to see over my shoulder two ministers, Heather Humphreys and Roderick O'Gorman, just undertaking a press briefing after today's cabinet discussions. Roderick O'Gorman, in the last few minutes, has confirmed that there are now over 10,000 Ukrainian refugees who have arrived on Irish soil. Around 4,400 of those have asked for the state's assistance in trying to find some sort of housing, and over 2,000 are in hotels. That number includes 22 people who have come here as unaccompanied minors, children who have travelled without any kind of supervision or accompaniment, who are refugees of this war in Ukraine. The number, as you say, could reach about 200,000, which means that the first challenge presented to the state is finding accommodation for all of those people. Roderick O'Gorman says that the Red Cross is now beginning to work through the pledges of accommodation that were received through its online register in the last couple of weeks, but they are going to start with the accommodation which is currently vacant. That's because children and any kind of vulnerable adults, if they're going to be sharing accommodation with any other native Irish people, are going to first have to undergo Garda vetting to make sure that is a safe place for those people to be residing. That in itself is going to take some time, and there's some work to undergone to figure out how quickly that can be done. So in the meantime, it will be vacant accommodation being used first, but all of it begin to be used, we suspect, within the next couple of days.